Hello and welcome back to the channel. Like I had mentioned in the previous video, I'm getting too into this. Like I had mentioned in the previous video, I was gonna share something else non-coding related for you guys, and yeah, here it is. So today we're gonna be going over how to set up a camera. If you want to get into photography, this is going into very basics on how to set up a camera. Not as much as like the functions of a camera, like types of settings to shoot on and like manual mode and things like that. But I guess I'll give you a little bit of a rundown. But this is mainly for the physical parts of setting up a camera. So I'm going to be showing with the Nikon, but it's Nikon, Canon, it's the same. As long as this is with the DSLR, so as long as it's with the DSLR, it should be somewhat similar. So I'm pulling up the camera. This right here is the camera body. And as you know, as you can notice, there's no lens. Let's take out the lens. So, camera lens. Beautiful. And check this should be in here. Okay, yes, I'll take it out for demonstration purposes. Okay. So you have your camera, you have your lens. What do you do next? You want to get the camera set up. I like to do it with the camera already strapped on, but you don't have to. My tip, my rule of advice, this is just separate, but when I'm shooting, when I'm photographing, I always try to keep the strap on, just in case. Make sure they're tightened, make sure they're good. You don't want your camera falling. That would literally be a nightmare. Okay. I'm going to teach you how to attach the lens to the body. You first twist and take off this little cap right here. Twist and take off the little cap right here that covers the bottom of the lens. And there's a few ways that you could do this. With the Nikon, as you can see, like you see in the lens how there are these little tiny, like a bunch of little dots. There are also similar little dots on the top of the Nikon. Another way that you could look at it is on top of the dots, there's this white button. And right here, there's a white button. So you pretty much just want to match them up. I think the button is a little bit easier. It's meant for the purpose of like seeing where your camera is and detaching. So as you can see, if you just connect the two, right? See like the button. I don't know if you can see the two buttons. There we go. And it's on. Twist until you hear a click. Hear that? Let me just. You hear the click? Right there? Now your lens is on. For Canons, I believe they have a little red button, but there's usually more than one way. Like how I just told you, the bunch of little dots and then the one white dot. There's usually more than one way than you can tell how to put the lens on. And if you really don't know, just stick it in and mess around and feel for it until you hear the click and you feel that it's secured. So that's how you attach the lens. This is the lens cap or lens cover, but lens cap. Make sure to keep it removed. Another pro tip, do not ever touch the lens. If you do want to touch the lens, you can use like glasses cleaner, the cloth. Let me see. I have one over here. One second. Never mind, I don't have it. But pretty much the cloths that come with your glasses, that is good to clean the lens. The lens, don't ever touch it otherwise. And also whenever you are attaching and detaching the lens cap, they usually have little pinchers right here, little grippers, so that you don't touch the lens at all. You literally just close and do that. But I'll teach you how to take off everything in a sec. But to put on and take off everything. But to take off the lens cap, you just squeeze. See how once it's in, take off. Don't even have to touch the lens. Beautiful. Now you're thinking, oh my God, have the camera set up, ready to get going. What do we do? Camera's on. Can't take photos. Well, let me tell you. This right here. Some of them, well, I'll explain that in a sec. I'm not sure if you can see that actually. Try to get the good lighting. there's a little compartment right here. You slide it, open it. That is where your SD card goes. You have to shoot with an SD card. Get it, put it in, put it until it's clicked. Boom, SD card is in. Next, at the bottom, you have a similar compartment, but a lot wider. Get that. Open it up. It's where your battery goes. Battery. And you can see how they usually in cameras they'll have a little diagram like this showing how exactly to put in the battery. With this type of battery, it's a little easy because you can kind of see the general shape of how it can go in, but for some Canons it's not always as easy to tell because they're like rectangles. You're trying to figure out which side of the rectangle, so it's always nice to see this little diagram of where or of how to put the camera battery in. You put it in, goes in, close it, now your battery is in, and now your camera will turn on. Beautiful. Some things to note when shooting, this right here is the viewfinder, what you use to actually see through the camera. How to hold your camera, let me show you. Well, this is if you're right-handed. Right hand, hold right side of the camera, like this, right? Right here is called the shutter button, and that is used to actually take photos. Wait, she's not focused. Wait. Oh my god, I have the memory card locked. Anyways, this is what's actually used to take photos. So you want to have your index on the shutter button, and your left hand, don't go like this. Don't do that. That can put at risk of getting your fingers on the lenses, your finger on the lens, and also, I mean, you just don't want fingers in your shot. You don't want it on your shot. You don't want to get your lens dirty. So what you do is you put it underneath like this. You hold the bottom of the camera. And this is especially helpful if you have really heavy lenses, like for sports photography, for instance, where you need, or yeah, but there's so many different types of photography where you need like heavy lenses, but some after so long get your wrist tired. This is just good for extra support, like that. And if you want to go portrait mode, kind of just vertically, like that. And that is how you hold the camera. Now, next, if we want to go into, hang on, my card is locked. Another thing that could happen, your card being locked. So here's SD card. Do you see this little yellow thing? Different colors for different SD cards, but all of them should have them. Flip it. It's literally just like a little switch. This locks and unlocks your card. So sometimes, I don't know why they put this. I don't know why someone would ever want to lock their card. But sometimes if you put the card in and it says like card locked, or if you're trying to import photos and it says like, and like nothing shows up, it might be because the card is locked. So you just press that little switch and your card's unlocked. Now, this is about setting up and taking down, but I'm just going to show you a little bit real fast. Every camera. I like to shoot in manual mode. And this is essentially when you can adjust all of the settings in your camera. We have shutter, we have f-stop, and we have your ISO. All three of them work together. ISO is the one that's mainly in control for lighting. F-stop also works with lighting though, but f-stop is what controls like the blurriness and clarity of photos. Shutter also helps with like clarity and focus, but I like to think of it as like it can also help with like contrast. So if you want to make a photo like slightly more contrasted, you darken it with shutter. First of all, if you want to make it less exposed, then you edit the ISO. So if the ISO, typically 100 ISO, you're not gonna work. Hello. Oh, it's this one. ISO, the lowest it usually goes, it depends on the camera, but the lowest it usually goes is 100. You can go lower. This one goes a little bit lower. But 100 is what you would use when it's like super bright outside. You don't need the extra help. You don't need the extra lighting. The higher you go, the brighter it'll be, essentially. Yeah, I could go into more detail, but the higher you go, the brighter it would be. So if you're shooting at night and you need some extra lighting, you're gonna move the ISO up versus during the day, you have nice lighting, probably gonna have it a lot lower. That is ISO. F-stop, I like to keep really low, typically like 2.8. Oh, also these are in different measurements. I could go into the details of the measurements. I'm not going to because this is the basics. So yeah, so f-stop I like to keep as low as you can. It also depends on what you're shooting for. So like for sports, you want to keep it super low because you want to, the lower it is, typically the lower it is, the clearer the shot is. And the more of the chance, more likely of the chance you're gonna get that depth of field, like clear focus with a blurry background. You achieve that with the f-stop. And then shutter goes by fractions. So when I say larger, I mean larger number, not larger fraction. You can see it says 1 over like 80, 100. Um, Typically the lower it is, the brighter it is, and also I don't know if it's less or more focus. I have experience. Yes, the less, oh God. The lower the number is fraction wise, like 30, 40. I know technically fraction wise it's the opposite, but it's typically brighter the lower you go, not in fraction, in the number, and then the higher you go, it's darker. Essentially, but also it kind of just it helps with clarity, but not as much as f-stop. F-stop really does that. So all three of them really work together. Basics of that. Now let's talk about how to take off the camera. There's also different modes here, and also you can adjust to manual focus and autofocus. I recommend autofocus because manual focus usually is never focused. And that's just the types of like focus modes. So yeah, now to take down your camera because this is getting very long. Remember, clip the cap, put back on, and there's a button right here. Do you see this? This little button? Press this, hold down, and take off your lens like that until it unclicks. It's going to be like that for pretty much all DSLRs. Everything I'm showing you is pretty much how it's going to be for all DSLRs, regardless of brand. And then this goes back over, you put your caps on, and yeah, take it off. Make sure the camera's off. You can take out your card. You can take out your battery again to charge it. That is how you set up a camera, put away a camera, and the very, 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 very basics to camera photography. So if you learn anything new, give the channel a thumbs up, like and subscribe. Um, and yeah, have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Bye.